Hello and welcome to episode 4 of our playthrough of the Cold Waters 2000 South Tennessee campaign with the dot mod. In the last game we went ahead and managed to sink a Chinese resupply convoy that was heading for Hong Kong to reinforce the forces that had invaded the islands already. And we were able to successfully kill that convoy. In this episode, the first thing we'll go ahead and do, we have new orders from Sinpak, indicating that the enemy is attempting to land attempting an invasion of Scarborough Shoal in the South China Sea. Our orders are to intercept the task force and basically sink all of it. You'll also notice when I pop the map back out, we're in a slightly different spot. That's just because when I got back into the game I had to move us immediately or we were going to be in contact. You can see we still have some friends chasing us. But we'll head down and around. There's our enemy landing fleet. Nothing yet. Oh, and we ran into a sub. Alright. Sonars picked up a new contact bearing 78, designated at Sierra 1, close to 20,000 yards, all hands to be on battle stations. Make turns for 0 knots.
Make turns for 0 knots. Maneuvering eye.
Let's see.
0 knots. Maneuvering eye.
See if we can pick up anything. There's a very weak layer at 126 feet, but if we're dealing with submarines, that shouldn't matter as much unless they're above that layer. But we're not picking anything up, and I don't want to leave, so we get to go to active sonar.
To active search.
And nothing. Alright, we'll go to passive.
Search.
We'll go up to 5 knots.
Make turns for 5
got something.
knots. Maneuvering eye.
Helm plot course bearing 001.
Making come left to 001. Helm eye.
Deploy tow to rate.
Con sonar new contact bearing 063. Designated Sierra 2.
You'll see it coming out this back area right here.
Con helm.
This will basically be an extra microphone that we can use to help us identify what exactly is out there.
1 is classified as submerged submarine.
And it's a Han. Weapons fired, tube 1 bearing 022.
Shoot 2-1, aye sir. Con sonar.
And we also have a merchant out there.
Is classified as merchant.
You can see just how long this tow to rate is. I mean, it's probably, I don't even know how long, to be honest with you. It's so long I can't even see the end of it anymore. You can see on our right side we still have battle damage from the last torpedo we took a hit from. But we'll go ahead, dogleg the torpedo now. And we're gonna go ahead and actually and stop the boat.
Make turns for 0 knots. Maneuvering eye.
Let the torpedo run, because at this distance it's gonna take it a while, but we just want the torpedo to run. We're not gonna go active, we're gonna say passive, so that the Han has a more difficult time detecting the torpedo. And then when the time is right, essentially it starts popping decoys. We'll go ahead and basically turn the weapon sensor to active. It's found, so we'll go ahead and set to active now. We're going to go ahead and retract. Oh, not able to retract. We'll go ahead and head up to 5 knots.
Make turns for 5
and we'll retract.
Knots. Maneuvering eye. Con sonar, Sierra 2 is cavitating.
Looks like the weapon ignored the decoy and is still homing on the Han.
Con sonar, noisemaker bearing.
The second one it didn't like very much though, but we managed to reacquire. He's not going to be able to get another one off. Impact.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 1, last bearing 074. Contact breaking up.
And that's a kill. We'll load Tube 1 with another Mark 48.
Con, torpedo room, Tube 1 ready.
And go ahead and leave combat. One Han sunk, 22,000 experience gain, crew proficiency increased. That was not our target, but hey, another ship we get to sink is always good in my book. And we hit something else. My guess is this will probably be the landing task force. Either way, sonars picked up something bearing 162 and designated the contact Sierra 1. We'll close to 25,000 yards and give the all hands to battle stations.
0 knots, maneuvering eye.
And we'll just
Combat
immediately
emergency, maneuvering eye.
drop down to 0 knots. And we'll
Make
sit
turns
and
forward
listen.
0 knots, maneuvering eye.
We've already
Con
got
sonar regained
Sierra
contact on
5.
Sierra 1, bearing 163.
Yeah, this is definitely our invasion force.
Con sonar, Sierra 2 is classified as
Actually,
escort.
is it?
Con sonar, Sierra
Oh, yes
4
it is.
classified as merchant. Con sonar, Sierra 1 is classified
It's
as
a very
escort.
light invasion
Con
force,
sonar
though,
lost contact.
personally.
Sierra 1, come right to 1.
But we'll
Make
go
turns
ahead,
forward 5
get our
knots,
sub turned
maneuvering
towards
eye.
the enemy.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 2, bearing 139.
And then
Con
slow
star,
down to
helm.
0 knots.
Make turns for 0 knots, maneuvering eye.
Fire Tube 1, bearing 096.
Shoot Tube 1, aye sir.
Shoot Tube 2, bearing
Con
225.
sonar lost contact. Sierra 1, last bearing 162. Contact faded.
Fire Tube 3, bearing 102.
Shoot Tube 3, aye sir.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra
And again, the
3,
reason we're
bearing
splitting these is so that we
181.
can attack from multiple sides.
Con
Doglegging
sonar regained
torpedoes.
Contact on Sierra 2, bearing 136.
Go ahead and move these a little bit. Go ahead and move torpedoes 1 and 3 in.
Con sonar regained contact on Sierra 1, bearing 162.
We're gonna go ahead and turn 2 in towards the target. And 3, we're gonna go past the Chengdu. Tube 1 will start turning in. Excuse me.
Con,
But-
fire control, weapon acquired.
Torpedo 2 is acquired.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
It's not gonna see it till it's too late. Yep.
Con sonar lost
And
contact.
impact.
Sierra 3,
That's a
last
ship
bearing
down.
180. Contact breaking up.
Load Tube 2 with a Mark 48. Guy didn't even make any evasive maneuvers. I don't think he knew a torpedo was after him. Hopefully we can do the same with Torpedo 1 here.
Con, torpedo room.
It looks like the Chengdu looks like he knows what's happening. Making invasive maneuvers, but no decoy. Maybe not.
Con
And
sonar lost
impact.
contact.
Load
Sierra
Tube 1 with
2,
another Mark
last
48.
bearing 152. Contact breaking up.
That's another vessel sent to the bottom. Now with Tube 3, we'll actually put it towards the U-Ting.
Weapon acquired.
Because every moment we can keep silent is a better moment for us. And we'll fire Tube 1 bearing 175.
Shoot Tube 1, aye sir.
I was gonna take this ship out with a missile, but I feel like a torpedo might do better at keeping us
Con
quiet.
sonar lost contact. Sierra 4, last bearing 162. contact breaking up.
And there's the U-Ting going towards the bottom. Ships going over and down to the bottom. Do have one last ship, the Lu Hu, which is a larger escort vessel for the Chinese at 4,800 tons. But we'll go ahead, get this one torpedo while we're waiting. Load tube 3 with one Mark 48. We'll go ahead, go back to tube 1, steer tube 1 in.
Con, fire control, weapon acquired.
Weapons acquired. Don't know that the Lu Hu knows it's
Con
being
sonar,
tracked. It does
noisemaker
now.
bearing 182.
We'll track, let the weapon track in,
Con sonar, noisemaker
and go
bearing
switch it to active.
184. Con sonar,
Oh,
lost contact.
and we guided it right
01.
in.
Last bearing 184. Contact
So
breaking
that's
up.
another ship to add to our total. Just to make sure that's everything, we'll set heading 093.
Come left to 093. Helm I.
Make turns for 5 knots.
Make turns for 5 knots. Maneuvering I.
And deploy our towed array.
Con maneuvering. Making turns for 5 knots.
You can see there are a couple other ships out there. This is exactly why we want to double check.
Steady course. Con sonar.
Uh-huh.
6 is classified as merchant.
There is a Kwangsha out, 2 Kwangshas out there.
Is classified as merchant.
And this is why we deployed the array. Alright, we'll retract the array.
Con sonar lost contact.
Set that for
06.
50 feet.
Last bearing 16. Make depth 50 feet. Dive by.
We're gonna go ahead and fire off these tomahawks. And fire tube 7.
Tube 7. Aye, sir.
And immediately go down to about 1,850 feet.
Make depth 1850 feet. Dive by.
As our weapon skims across the surface.
Con, torpedo room, tube 7 ready.
I think it has a lock on something. Yep, just got a lock.
Con sonar
And
regained
it's heading
contact
down.
on Sierra 5 bearing 169.
And impact should be here shortly. It's still taking a while to track, let me tell you. It's just skimming over the waves. And impact with something. With what? I'm not
Sonar
quite
lost
sure.
Contact. Sierra 5, last bearing 169. Contact faded.
Either way, we're actually going to head back up to 50 feet. We need to put our mast up because we're really not getting a whole lot.
Passing 800 feet.
And we'll go ahead and put the towed array out again. Go ahead and bring the sub around. Bring it back up. While we let out the array. Set course bearing 128.
Come right to 128. Helm I.
There's a helicopter right behind us, which is suboptimal. Fire the Moss bearing 169.
Tube 5. Aye, sir.
We're out of Moss. Retract towed array. Was a little cocky before I knew what was going on. Make depth 1950 feet.
Make depth 1950 feet. Dive by.
Con, helm, steady course. Con, sonar, torpedo in the water, torpedo in the water, bearing 298.
Make turns for 10 knots.
Make turns for 10 knots. Maneuvering I.
Make turns for 15 knots.
Make turns for 15 knots. Con, sonar, torpedo in the water, bearing
That's not good.
Damage control parties. Lay to the engine
We're
room.
down to 82. We need to go up to about 1,000 feet.
Passing 1,500 feet.
We can make turns for 5 knots.
Make turns for 5 knots. Maneuvering aye.
We have another torpedo coming for us? We do. Fire Moss bearing 007.
Shoot tube 6. Aye, sir.
Makes depth 200 feet.
Passing 1,000 feet. On. Pumps have been repaired.
Make turns for 15 knots.
Make turns for 5 knots. Maneuvering aye.
Yep, there's another torpedo after us. We'll go ahead and pop decoys. Torpedo, we're actually gonna manage to get above. And it exploded. Make turns for 5 knots.
Make turns for 5 knots. Maneuvering aye.
Set depth for 50 feet.
Make depth 50 feet. Dive aye.
We need to get our mast up because we need to
Cons
sink these
maneuvering.
ships.
Making turns for 5 knots.
Raise
go.
mast. We need to raise the radar mast.
Raise the radar mast. Con. Dive at 50 feet. Dive aye.
We're gonna have to fire a missile. Hope we hit those ships out there. Fire tube 5 bearing
Cons sonar
164.
regained contact on Sierra 5 bearing 173.
Set depth at 750 feet.
Make depth 7
Secure mast.
feet. Dive aye.
Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 5 last bearing 173. Contact faded. Con sonar lost contact. Sierra 5 last bearing 173. Contact faded.
Looks like... did it get shot down? I'm not sure. Set depth back to 50 feet.
Make depth 50 feet. Dive aye.
It's very confusing. Deploy towed array. Once we get up there, we'll go ahead and deploy the mast again, see what we can't find.
Upscope. Raise the radar mast.
There's a second
Dive
helicopter.
at 50 feet. Dive aye.
Well, if we fire the missile, get it to fire tube 7 bearing 169.
Aye, sir.
And we'll need to go ahead, secure, make depth 1,000 feet,
Make depth 90.
and get us down there fast.
Turn con sonar. We are cavitating.
Oh,
On.
and we
Radar
can't
mast has
secure
been
any
damaged.
masts.
On. Periscope has been damaged. On. Periscope has been damaged.
It's
On.
fine,
Periscope
we
has
can't
been
do
damaged.
anything about that. That's entirely my bad. Now we need to go
Con sonar
down to
lost.
5,
Make turns for 5 knots. Maneuvering aye.
and we need to immediately turn
Come
around.
left to 309. Helm aye.
Rig
Brake
shift
for
will
silent
deploy.
running.
Con. Dive
And
at
most importantly,
1000 feet.
Turn
Dive aye.
around. Helm set course bearing 269
Come left to 268. Helm aye.
or 268. That works too.
Con helm. Steady course.
Fortunately, I don't know that our missile did anything. And we're just going to try and get out of here now. That's the best thing we can do at this point. One weapon's exploded, both have. We still have aircraft nearby though. We'll go ahead, speed up time. They definitely don't know where we are. they're just launching depth charges and other things miscellaneously. But we'll speed up time again. You can see they're just popping stuff off, seeing what they can find. But we seem to be okay for the moment. Still have aircraft nearby. Looks like one moved south though. I don't see the other one. Alright, we're gonna set a new course. Set new course 292.
Helm right 292. Helm I. Con, helm, steady course.
Looks like we did actually sink one of the Quangshas, which is great. Still not far enough away from the helicopters yet. That one's actually pretty close. So one to the south's further away. And the guy's still launching depth charges at us. We'll go ahead and speed up to 10 knots.
Make turns for 10 knots. Maneuvering I.
But going twice as fast, we should make twice the distance. And we got far enough away we can leave. Looks like a Song submarine and one of the Quangshas escaped, but we did manage to get the other one. We did have a lot of systems damage, but we also gained 21,500 experience and managed to complete our objective, for which we are awarded the Distinguished Service Medal. To Commander Archie Park, Commanding Officer USS Seawolf. For exceptionally meritorious service as Commanding Officer USS Seawolf, Archie Parker's steadfast devotion and superior tactical decisions have constantly brought success to his unit in action. His conduct reflects great credit upon him, this command, and is in keeping with the high traditions of the United States Naval Service. And with that, another bad day for the Chinese. Looks like the Chinese will try to reinforce their Hong Kong holdings again, but for us, we need to get back to Guam, undergo repairs, and rearmament, because we're running quite low on anti-ship missiles. We're completely out of moss, and I don't know how we're looking for torpedoes. But I do want to go ahead and get back so we can get back to hunting proper. There we go. That brings us up to 20 days at war, 6 missions accomplished, 1 land strike, 1 insertion, 11 other warships, 17 submarines, 6 merchant vessels for 34 vessels, and the total tonnage is 116,790. We also have 3 medals. And with that, we'll go ahead, first head into damage control. We're going to have to fix each one of our masts, which luckily these are pretty easy to fix. But now's the big part. Reacquisition of weapons. We'll get 4 moss. And we'll boost us up to 8 total tomahawks, although I grabbed 2 too many. And once again, we'll fill the rest of this base with torpedoes. With that, we're back to 100% hull, and we will once again set off. Unfortunately, I think we are going to be too late to complete this objective. I really don't want to go into the shallows up around Hong Kong, because this whole area right here is really where the enemy like to go ahead and put a lot of those units. But don't want to leave the enemy entirely unaffected. But we'll go ahead and slip through the Luzon Strait. And we are going to let that enemy slip by. Chinese double down. And an alarming development, a large enemy convoy containing a large number of resupply vessels arrived at Hong Kong, China, according to anonymous Pentagon sources. As they dig in, fresh troops and supplies will no doubt revitalize enemy spirits and impede future U.S. operations in the area. Chinese success at penetrating the blockade around Hong Kong and China has caused serious consternation within the Pentagon, exposing flaws in their regional operations. U.S. spokesmen have thus far refused to comment on the situation. Well, unfortunately we weren't able to get that, but we'll deal with this instead. New orders from Sinpak intelligence indicates the Russians are increasing their support for the People's Republic of China by sending surface units to reinforce the Chinese. They believe the group will transit through the Sea of Japan and deploy to Cam Ranh on the coast of Vietnam. Our orders are to intercept and sink this force. Well, you don't have to tell me twice. We'll immediately go ahead, set sail back through the Luzon Strait, this time through the Philippine Sea, hopefully avoiding that satellite, and it looks like we did. Now we'll go ahead, skim by the southern Japanese Isle, and up into the Sea of Japan. My favorite place to sit in the Sea of Japan is right in this area off the kind of western coast of South Korea. And it looks like we had an enemy sub come after us. But our sonars picked it up, bearing 30, designated Sierra 1. But before we get into that, that's where I'll go ahead and leave this episode. If you like this episode, make sure you leave a like down below. Also hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos in the future. If you want to be notified when that next video is released, go ahead and click the notification bell down below. Also make sure you leave a comment down below with what you liked or disliked about the video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and bye bye.